Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 59 of Video Game Club. As always, I am your host Tyler, and I have with me today Mr. Probably Wish the Fishing minigame featured Big the Cat, Austin.
Hello.
Froggy. Froggy. And it would not be a Video Game Club episode without the lore master herself, Mox.
Hello, I'm so excited because this game there's nothing but lore. That's it.
I'm also extremely excited to talk about this game because it was not picked up by like major news outlets at all. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it, and spoilers, I feel like it's a great game. How's everyone doing today? Austin, how you been?
I'm good.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Mox?
I unlocked Island Sanctuary in Final Fantasy XIV, and just my heart is complete.
And for those that don't know Final Fantasy XIV, how can you explain that?
It's farming in an MMO. Who needs that? Nobody. Why'd they put it in? I'm not sure. Who loves it? Everybody.
Nice. What have you been playing besides Final Fantasy XIV? And also, did you unlock it while playing on Steam Deck?
Yes.
Whoa.
Nothing. The Steam Deck, I just cannot believe how nice it is for Final Fantasy. Like, I can't believe it.
Apparently that's what Gabe Newell was playing on it.
You're kidding.
The most. Yeah, as soon as it came out, he was just like, oh yeah, keep playing it with my son. Just
It's perfect for it. I'll sit on my little bike, ride a bike, and an internal bike, and mine in it. It's like just perfect. There's nothing else I want to play on my Steam Deck. Well, okay, I'll play other games. I don't want to play Final Fantasy XIV on anything other than my Steam Deck. That's what I meant to say.
That's awesome. Austin, what have you been playing?
I am still working on Yakuza 5.
Nice.
So
Are you almost done?
No, I can only play that so it doesn't work properly on Steam Deck. Like, the game plays correctly, but as soon as you go into a cutscene, it plays audio from other cutscenes instead.
Boo.
It's a weird issue. And nobody has a fix for it right now. So
It's
I have to
strange.
play it on my desktop. And that is hard to do with baby. So whenever grandparents take him, I try to get some time in on it. But I just today finished part 2, and there's 4 parts plus a finale. So I'm like close to the halfway point, I think. But I've been also slowly working on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
I think I'm in chapter 13 now.
Wow.
But yeah.
Moving right along.
I also tried Signalis on your suggestion. I'm not very far into that, but I spent a lot more time getting it to work on the Steam Deck versus playing it, because I was playing the version from the Humble launcher, and every guide to get that working was missing a step I needed. So
The best.
I spent like
Classic.
3 or 4 hours getting that to run, but now it works.
Hey.
It's a victory.
It
You
is a
accomplished
victory.
something, and now you get to
Yeah.
play the game.
And it runs beautifully, which is great. So
Signalis is just absolutely amazing. I love it so far. It's one of those games that I started playing and then I could not pull myself away from it until Sonic Frontiers came out, and now that is all I've been playing is Sonic Frontiers. Right before this, I just got past the second island and beat the second boss. And it was so cool, and the music was so awesome, and it was so intense and just over the top. It was great. The game is so... It's just so good if you love 3D Sonic. If you're like a fan of Adventure 2, it's good. It's a great game. And I am looking forward to whatever sequel they make, because I feel like they're going to take a lot of the lessons, like a lot of the good, throw away a lot of the bad, improve some things, and hopefully it'll be even better. But
Mox is going to get it for Steam Deck and play it with mouse controls on the touchpads instead of using the joysticks.
I was going to ask how it compared to the one we played.
It's a lot better.
I don't believe you.
It has...
I take insult to that.
Oh my gosh. It has I will say this about Sonic Frontiers. It has a very good mix of a few different games, and Breath of the Wild is definitely one of them. But it's like the 3D Sonic and 2D Sonic like levels like go from point A to point B, go fast, collect rings, etc., are very, very, very good. And then the open world is also just like it shouldn't work this well, but it does, basically. That's how I feel about it. But we're not going to talk about Sonic Frontiers today,
Thank
sadly.
goodness.
No. This is Video Game Club, where we're going to talk about Beacon Pines. And usually, every 2 weeks, we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord. Discuss that game right here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV. And if you can't catch us live, don't worry, you can find it on YouTube, all major podcast services. And if you appreciate what you're hearing, please consider subscribing, rating, commenting, all those fun things. And come to Discord, let us know a game that you would like us to check out. Maybe a question you would like us to answer. I don't know. Just come talk to us. The nominations for this episode were Beacon Pines, Road Warden, which I've never heard of until Mox brought it up. Same with Beacon Pines, I guess, and Outer Wilds. And the winner was Beacon Pines. Mox, how did you discover Beacon Pines?
The discovery queue in Steam, all three of them. From that, I was like, it was my turn, and I didn't have any ideas that were like, oh, I'm excited about this. They bothered me, so I went and did probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 discovery queues, and I got like 6 games, and then we whittled it down to these 3. And people really did not want to do Road Warden because it's a book in a game, but it's a good book. But Beacon Pines is good.
Beacon Pines is also somewhat of a book. And I feel like it's an even better book. I don't even need to play Road Warden to know that. But Beacon Pines is a heavy narrative adventure game. There's some light adventures that you go on, but it's very narrative, very focused, and very linear in some ways, and some ways not linear as well. It was developed by Hiding Spot Games. Also a little fun fact: this game is not very big, so there's no Wikipedia. There's no there is a wiki, but it's not very filled out. So I got to do a lot of research. And Hiding Spot Games is based in Austin, Texas. And they're a global remote team. And their first game, it was Ephemerid, which is a musical adventure game. It won an IGF award for audio. Their second game I have heard of, but I've never played it. It's called Flipping Legend. It was a mobile game, and it was the highest rated mobile game in 2017, according to Metacritic.
What?
Yeah. Have you played Flipping Legend, Mox? I don't know why, but I just feel like, okay.
I haven't even heard of it. I don't play a ton of mobile games.
Yeah. I just feel like maybe it was one of those games. Austin, you Flipping Legend? Anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I had not heard of that before.
So the game was published by Fellow Traveler Games. They launched in 2013 under the name of Surprise Attack Games, and then in 2018 they rebranded as Fellow Traveler Games. They're based in Melbourne, Australia, and they have published games such as Paradise Killer, Citizen Sleeper,
Well, okay,
Neocab, and many others, including one game we've already played for Video Game Club.
Couldn't even take a guess.
No.
Mox, no guesses?
I have no idea. I don't even know.
Hacknet.
We're like, what?
Yeah. So the same people that published Hacknet published Beacon Pines. Pretty awesome.
Well, not everyone can be a smash hit.
Gosh.
Oh, Hacknet was good. Wait.
No, I'm saying with like how well Beacon Pines is doing it at getting people's attention.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not from a quality standpoint.
We're gonna help it.
Hacknet, and again, spoilers. I liked this game as well.
We're gonna help it get the attention that it deserves, Austin.
There's dozens of us.
Dozens. The game was released September 22nd, 2022, so not even a month ago. It came to Xbox, Switch, and PC.
Did you say September?
Yeah, September.
That was more than a month ago. It's November right now.
Sorry. I don't know how months work. Yes. Man. Whew. Yeah, it's not October, it's November. Holy cow. So, what is going on 2022 in gaming? Well, the Steam Deck was released.
Woo.
Yes.
The Playdate came out. Yay. The Sega Mega... Hey, the Playdate's awesome, Mox. I'm gonna bring my Playdate to you and put Bloom in front of you and let you just cry.
Okay.
You're gonna love it. Sega Mega Drive Mini 2, which a little funny thing about that is that you can only get it shipped to the US via Amazon Japan.
What?
Yeah, they didn't make that many copies of it, and so there's like not a lot of units, and for some reason that's the only way you can get it to the US. But a lot of people,
the Japanese version that you get, or is that to get the US version?
my understanding is it's just like one version. I don't know. I guess they would need a proper plug, but from what I've heard is you can only get it through Amazon Japan.
I thought the Japanese version was supposed to have like this quiz show that they did not put in the US version because there was no point in translating it.
Could
Anyway,
be.
don't
Could
worry
be.
about it.
Could be. Could be. The Evercade XP or EXP is coming later this month. And, we might see the Intellivision Amico this month, right? This year. Never know. Never know.
Just as likely as we'll see The Northerner by Jeremy Soule, I think.
Oh my gosh. Mox.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Jeez. God of War Ragnarok recently came out. Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Sonic Frontiers, many, many others. Signalis. Lots of games coming out to 2022. Do you think have we played any games that were released this year?
We had to have, right?
I couldn't find any. Lots in 2021,
Yeah.
but I couldn't find any that came out this year that we decided to play.
Usually we hit like some point where we're like, I want to play something that just came out.
That was Beacon Pines.
Well, and
Okay.
we played Metroid Dread rather soon after it came out too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2021.
that was last year.
Gosh,
I
did
know.
not feel like that long ago.
I know, right?
October. Yeah.
Oh, my
Over a year ago.
goodness.
It's wild. That's how time works. It's crazy. So how did this game review? Well, I kind of mentioned already in the beginning, it wasn't picked up by major outlets. So I went to Metacritic to kind of see like who did review it and what score it got. It has an 85 on Metascore. Some things people really liked was that it was a coming of age story. They really liked the voice acting, the beautiful art. Some of the things that people didn't like was that there wasn't enough player interaction at times, like different things that you could do as the player character, and then also
Well, they obviously didn't fish. Okay, keep going.
yeah, for real, right? The other thing is that the tree, when you make choices, they didn't like that it was unclear what the outcome was based on that charm that you picked in the tree. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like it only has it only has a check mark. It doesn't say like what whether or not it was a good
I see
ending or
what you're
bad
saying.
ending.
I thought
That's
you
not
meant
entirely true.
they
It
couldn't
has
anticipate.
it has a
All
question
the endings
mark.
are bad until you get the true one.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. But it also has like a question mark, right? If like you're in the process of that one or you haven't fully done it. But I saw that on multiple reviews. People talked about that.
That's a dumb complaint.
But
It is.
yeah.
This isn't a 999, game. It's this kind of game. It's not that game. The
Yeah.
endings aren't. I don't know.
So
That's to
let's-
suggest that there are bad endings other than the real ending. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
yeah, so let's jump into the gameplay here. So you play as Luca Van Horn, who is a child who has lost his father and mother. Very sad. The story plays out in like a choose your own adventure tree where you fill in the blanks with these things called charms. And there's the charms can be, I guess they're a mix of like nouns and verbs, right? And adjectives, just everything, all kinds of different words.
Yeah, not every charm is going to fit in every sentence.
Yeah, they also don't let you put whatever you want. They don't let you put whatever charms you have, right? They only have a certain subset that you can
Yes.
fill in the blanks.
Thank God.
Some of them are used multiple times.
Yep. And charms can be words such as tickle, or chill, or junk.
Malice.
Shit.
Yeah. And as you explore the map and talk to characters, you can unlock even more charms. There's a few very small, simple puzzles, and there's a fishing mini game, which is included to explain more about the relationship that Luca had with his father. And I really like the fishing mini game. I fully completed it. Did you guys fully complete the fishing mini game?
I got
did.
every achievement.
You did?
Yeah, in the game.
Me too. Austin, did you? 100%?
I missed 2 achievements, but I did fully complete the fishing thing.
Nice. You gonna go back get those achievements?
I looked at how to get them, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Aw.
What? The most
They're so
it takes
easy.
is like 5 minutes.
I didn't want to do that. One of them they should have given to me for how I played, and instead they were like, "Oh, you weren't a little butthead.
All right.
You don't get an achievement."
Should have been a butthead.
I know. I turned off the faucet. I closed the fridge. I didn't get an achievement.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah. In the beginning, when you leave the house, yeah. I got that one on accident. I didn't realize that I didn't close the fridge.
That was the one I had to look up because I didn't know
Were
how
you
to get it.
Born in a barn, Tyler?
Yeah.
Born. Goodness. So what did you guys think of the gameplay? Mox, start with you.
I'll play a game that has no gameplay, so I had no opinion. I mean, it was good. It's gameplay. There's nothing wrong with it.
And you felt like it was a very solid how it all integrated together, like you exploring and charms and everything.
I think the only thing I wish was a fast forward. Like even the 999 games will let you fast forward through dialogue you've already seen. This game didn't let you do that.
What about you, Austin?
For gameplay?
Yeah. Just like
so
overall.
I know one of the complaints was like not enough stuff to interact with and do while you're playing. I actually felt like that was a feature. It kept the game really focused, so like you could only really there would be like a few things you could interact with that were just for flavor, but even like the flavor stuff was like, hey, that's actually kind of interesting. But limiting the things that you can interact with at any given moment kept it so that like I wouldn't just go around looking at everything to see if I could get a new charm. It's like, okay, I can interact with a few things, I can move on. I don't have to get choice paralysis or worry that I'm missing something. So that really helped me. I think that was a good fit for this game.
This game does a really good job of helping with choice paralysis.
Yes.
Because it is a tree, but you can go back.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is like amazing.
My only complaint, like I think the tree system is really well done. I guess we'll get more into that in the interface, but I wish that you could go. Sometimes I would make a choice and I would get a little bit into it and like, ooh, this feels like it's going to go a lot further. I would like to go to the other choice because I think that's going to be a shorter one. So sometimes I would be like, I would hit like a chapter break. I'd be like, okay, this is going to go on for a bit. And I wish that I could have gone back to that path like at the chapter marker.
Oh.
Instead of just having to go back to the beginning of that choice.
Yeah. That's fair.
But other than that, I mean, instead I was just like, okay, I'll just ride this out and I'll check the other one later. And that wasn't so bad. But
nice.
Just would have been a little bit better that way, I think.
Well, to explain, unlike the 999, where you can just kind of go anywhere in the tree, in this game you can only go to choices, and choices aren't always bound by chapters.
Yeah, sometimes you'll do a choice, and it's like, that choice is like 5 chapters long.
Yeah, I like the movement of your character. Like, it's pretty simple, and you can jump and, and examine and stuff or whatever.
I don't know why you can jump in this game.
But I think it's just something to do.
Yeah. That seems right.
They're like little rag dolls, like when you jump, like their arms and legs.
Whee!
I know, I really like it. It just felt really nice. It matched like the whole vibe of the game, I feel, quite well. Okay, so moving on to visuals here. I mean, it's a beautiful, like, it almost looks, like painted style, kind of. And I felt like all the characters were so detailed, especially when the portraits come up when you're having a conversation, their reactions and like the clothes that they're wearing and everything like that. And just like,
and
it's a little weird that some of them just wouldn't have portraits.
Yeah.
What? Oh, I guess it depended on the interaction.
Like the fisherman.
Yeah.
Didn't have a portrait, things like that. There was other, like the guy who went and caught bugs.
That wasn't jarring to me.
What?
I didn't really
Speaking of the bug, yeah, did anybody like what was the whole bug catching conclusion?
I don't think there was anything.
It was just like, hey, I'm just catching bugs here and there and I'm going to give you a little story bits.
It was part of the story.
Okay. Overall, I just feel like this game has a very nice just look to it. I like how the map or like the area when you're moving around it's like faded on the sides, You know what I'm talking about? Like it's not
Yep.
it's not fully filled in. And I don't know, it just feels like it just looks good. It looks good.
Like an old picture book.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a
Yeah,
story
like
book.
like a book, like a picture book. Mox, was this game pretty?
Oh, yes.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have qualms, but
Oh,
we'll
you
get
do?
there.
Oh, please. No, go ahead.
Well, no, they're part of like story.
Oh, story.
Mostly.
Okay, not the visuals though.
No, the visuals were excellent. I would
Oh.
change nothing. The music was excellent too.
The music was excellent, which we will move on to here in a second. Austin, visuals, great.
Great. They were great. The colors were all just really lovely to look at.
Yeah.
And, like I was playing after I did my initial recording. I was playing on my docked Steam Deck in the living room, and Lena would look up every once in a while and be like, "God, this game is super pretty."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is.
It's also
I
adorable.
agree fully. The environment's really pretty. Everything just looks really nice. The character portraits and everything. There were a few for how many people had character portraits
Mm-hmm.
and how limited the number of characters were in the town. I feel like the few that didn't have it, it was just kind of weird that they didn't just like
Yeah.
make one for those few.
I
Maybe they ran
didn't
out of
notice
budget,
that. I didn't.
I also didn't
if you
really,
had-
but now that you call it out, I see it.
even now,
There's, like-
I don't notice it.
So like there were two ways of dialogue working. Like there would be character portrait dialogue, and then some people would just have like air bubble dialogue.
Right.
And characters that would have portraits would sometimes have air bubble dialogue for like little funny moments or things like that.
Mhm.
But it was just kind of weird.
Like the girls at the coffee shop, I think they had mainly air bubbles.
No, they had portraits.
Oh, there was portraits for all of them? Even
Well,
the girl studying and then the two
sometimes.
older girls? Okay.
Just depends on the characters.
Mm.
Some characters who like you had to talk to as part of the story didn't have it, and it was like that's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't notice this at all.
What about the visuals of the book, like when you're looking at the book and you're on the little desk and stuff? It was
fine.
It was very cozy.
Mhm.
It's like candlelit. It's really nice. Okay. Audio, Mox, you said you really like the music?
Yes, I very
Yeah.
much enjoyed it.
Me too.
There wasn't. I can't think of a single like song loop that I was like annoyed that I was stuck in that song loop.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job with like the dynamic
Yes.
sound as well, because like you would have kind of a chill song, and then like something really messed up would happen, and the song would kind of transform with that revelation.
Yeah.
And I sent you guys that one track that plays whenever you're having dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and God, just listening to it gives me chills. I'm just,
Those dreams were crazy.
yeah,
Absolutely nuts. Yeah, it does a lot of really cool stuff. Like, well, first of all, the soundtrack was done by Matt Meyer. He also did the soundtracks of the other hiding spot games that we brought up as well.
Okay.
You guys already mentioned Very Chill, and it does a really good job of setting the mood for sure. It does. I feel like it does. There's like some seasons in this game, and it does a good job with like, oh, it's it's spring, fall, whatever, and it like let's play like some strings, and make it all nice and pretty for this moment, and oh, it's it needs to be a little like slower tempoed and different types of instruments and stuff. It's very good, very dynamic, very good. Would you
mumble dialogue kind of reminded me of that? It felt very Rare. By that I mean like Rare, the game company.
Yeah, in a good
I don't know
way
if you
though.
guys felt the same way. Yeah, it didn't.
Not an
bother me.
annoying way.
Yeah, it's like there's good and bad ways to do that, and this way felt good. I felt weird that it was like the narrator was speaking voiced lines, and then the rest of the characters were mumble lines. But I got used to that pretty quick, and I thought the narrator did a good job.
For me personally, I kind of liked it because you could kind of make up what they sound like in your head, like when you're reading it. And I wonder if that was on purpose because of how how it's a storybook that you're reading and stuff like that. I don't know.
It also kept it moving.
Yeah, true.
I thought of it as, well, the book narrator is human like me reading this book, and everybody else is an animal, so they get an animal voice.
They get
That was my only thought about that.
Would you listen to this soundtrack on its own, Mox?
Like a couple tracks.
You got, you're about to start your work day, or you want to get in the mood for work or something. I don't know. Put the soundtrack on. No?
I would pull out a couple tracks to be like, oh, I like that part of the game.
Okay. What about you, Austin?
I will probably re-listen to the Dream song every once in a while for a long time.
Gotcha. I really loved it. I listened to it all the way through on its own this week. That was really good.
I'd say vinyl win, but for how small the
Yeah,
release was, it probably won't happen.
Probably not. But Matt Meyer, if you're listening to this, please let us know. Controls and interface. So Austin, you kind of already talked about this a little bit about the tree stuff. I feel like the interface is pretty minimal, right? Like it just has like the backpack, the tree, and then you just kind of interact. You can see the charms in your backpack, and you can view the story tree at any time. But Austin, what did you brought up a little bit about the tree? What were you going to say about the interface?
Yeah, so the interface overall, I really loved for this game. The tree, I think that any game with branching paths should have something like this, where you can go back to a branch point and play from there. It really irks me when a game's like, okay, do a whole new playthrough, and it's like, okay, I don't want to play through everything up to that point again. Like, that sucks. So any game like this that has branching paths and lets you return to branch points is just, love it. I loved that it would tell you, like, hey, you completed this path already, like you saw the end of this, what this choice was, so you knew which choices you still needed to go explore. Walking around, I already said, having kind of limited things to interact with at any given point helped a lot. And even for if there was something that you were supposed to interact with after other things, like it would mark it with a little sign to be like, hey, now that you've interacted with these other things, you can interact with this now, which I really liked, because a lot of other games will just be like, oh, come back to it later. You don't know when you're supposed to, when you've triggered the point that you need to come back to this object. So just, there were lots of little touches to kind of keep the game flowing and never really leave you stuck, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, I feel like I never got stuck, and it was really nice to just, it was pretty, it did a pretty good job of showing you what to do next, subtly.
Yeah.
Mox, how did you feel about the controls and interface?
I think up was the tree and left or something was the backpack, or right maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was on the, I don't even remember.
No, right. Yeah.
Button pad. But it made it seem like the way they introduced it, they like kind of slid it in and they were like, oh, press that button now. I was waiting for 4 of those options, but there were only ever 2. I don't know.
Well, there was 3, right? The bottom one was interact.
I guess you're right. I was waiting for like them to fill up.
Yeah, like what's the left button gonna do? Yeah.
Is this my time travel button?
I know.
My rewind?
I did like that it rewarded you for interacting with everything, and it didn't like, it made it clear, like Austin said, what you needed to interact with the next, or what you've already interacted with, or what you've already like heard from, not only in the game, the way it looked, but then in how characters interacted with you too.
Yeah. Austin, didn't you say there was one part where you were talking with some character and they were like, oh, we don't need to talk, or something? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so I guess this was, I think I told you guys while we were in Discord, but there's a part where the objective is you need to go to this particular spot, and anytime there was an objective, I would be like, I'm going to go explore everything else first, just so I don't miss anything. And I went and talked to a character, and they were like, oh, hey, did you already get back from talking to so-and-so? And I was like, huh? And they were like, never mind, I didn't say anything. And it was like, it was acknowledging that I was supposed to go do some things in a certain order, and I was supposed to come to them later.
Super cute.
Yeah, it was a cute, super nice little touch.
Yeah, it's nice. All right, moving on to performance. I played this on the Xbox because it's on Game Pass, and there were no issues at all. I don't think no one here played it on Switch, right?
No.
Correct.
Okay. So apparently the Switch has some performance issues later on in the game, according to some reviews that I read.
What? How?
I don't know. I didn't dive too deep into it. I just saw that and I was like, that's weird.
If Anodyne 1 has performance problems on Switch, then any game can have performance problems on Switch.
I assume. Well, Austin, you already said you played on Steam Deck, and I'm assuming it worked flawlessly.
It worked wonderfully. Yeah, it worked. It worked very, 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 very well.
Mox, you too, Steam Deck.
Same, no issues, perfect.
Nice. Yeah. No, and there was no bugs either. Like, no other, like, oh, I'm stuck, or oh, I have to restart. None of that. It was just.
Yeah, it was very polished.
They did a very, very good job. I'm gonna put on that spoilers tag. And it's time for us to talk about the story, which is this is why you're playing this game, right? The story, It's a book. It's a book with choices, lots of different endings. We're not going to fully hash out the story, but I am curious, like, if there was lots of endings. What did we think of the true ending? Mox, start with you, if you don't mind.
There are so many like empty things or missing pieces or like unfolded threads. Like, first of all, I don't know who the narrator is. The book.
Yes.
Did I miss that?
I don't think so.
I was waiting for it to be like someone who cared about the story. And as far as I can tell, it wasn't. It was just like a book with a voice. And the book cared about the ending finishing. Because books should have endings.
Right, and they wanted a good ending because they were reading this book.
I guess.
Right?
I really wish there was, and maybe I missed it, but maybe like I wish there was something that brought the narrator back into the story and why they cared about the story. Because every time you got to a like, I don't even want to call them an ending, just like a dead end, the narrator was like, wait, that's weird. That shouldn't have happened like that. Let's go back and try something else.
Right.
And Not that talking animals need to have like a plausible story, but the story was rather implausible, and I didn't like that either.
Yeah,
and I didn't like the ending because I don't know. I guess we're gonna spoil the whole story or whatever.
Yeah.
But his friend stayed like transformed by the potion thing. I was so sad. Like, can't they?
His mom too.
Yeah. Why can't they undo it? They knew how to. Like, what's her name's mom knew. She made the formula. Why can't they fix it? I hate when they don't fix everything.
Yeah, the character who moved and it was her job as like an engineer or whatever there. You're talking about her, right?
Chemist, yes.
Sorry.
I can't remember all their names right this second.
Yeah.
I played this 2 weeks ago.
I know, same. It's hard to remember the names.
I just like when...
It doesn't help that they don't put the names on the
speech bubbles?
Like during the conversations.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would say somebody's name and I'd be like, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you talking about? And it doesn't help that it's like, I don't even know that I'm talking to you. I don't know your name. Who are you again?
Did you guys have a favorite character? Even if you can't just describe them, if you can't name their name, besides Luca, the main character?
He wasn't my favorite character, but I did like him. I also liked how he knew everyone in the town.
He's super connected and he can talk to everybody.
I really liked that.
With no issue. Yeah.
I guess I liked Beck.
Beck is
the girl, the cat whose moms came because her mom moved in. I didn't like Rolo, his friend. I did not like him at all, in fact.
Yeah, Rolo's he's a bit I don't know, not destructive, but he likes to get in.
He's a wild card.
Yeah, he's a wild card. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I liked that about him. So I ended up liking Rolo and his sister and their relationship.
I also was a fan of him as well.
Wow.
I also thought the storyline with the moms was very good. The whole like, oh, I moved here for you, sort of thing, and they expose some of that, which is nice. Because it's a very like serious thing that happens, like whenever one spouse member, one partner gets a job, the other one doesn't,
And also how that affects Beck, because she's like
in the middle, kind of
like I'm a problem to solve,
right? And
I was like, oh, geez,
I know. Yeah, that part of the story got really serious. It's good. I'm a big fan of the whole like I like the whole small town. There's a little mystery about this small town. that everyone's trying to find, and Night in the Woods, kind of. And but I'm a big fan of that whole little, I don't know, and the fact that it's a farming town and stuff. It, like, I'm from a small farming town, so it kind of hit there for me. It was kind of cool.
Okay, but you would notice
Oh,
if your
for
entire town was in a different spot.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the path that goes here doesn't go here anymore.
That's
Or
weird.
like, I don't know. Ostensibly, they were like several miles, south. Has no one really ventured north? Is it the village? We don't leave the village. Is that what it is?
I see.
I didn't like that implausibility. And the stupid Tempus Liquimine also has no, like, I want to say there's no chemists on the production team here. There's nothing realistic about that. I like when things are based in reality.
Substance.
I know. I mean, but even like 999, which has a very implausible story. Oh my God, dude, they try so
really
hard.
They go into the details on that one. Yeah.
I mean, the only, like, what is it? The thing you have to assume is that in Cat in the Cradle, that stupid Ice 9, that Ice 9 exists. That's the only thing you have to assume. Everything else is plausible.
Right.
And even with the Ice 9 stuff, they like kind of hint at it at different points. Like, oh yeah, like this weird story happened involving Ice 9, and it sounds totally unbelievable, but totally happened.
I need to know what the story's name was. I can't remember.
Instead of just it was like
Cat's Cradle.
Yeah.
That made it plausible. This, no way plausible. It was leap after leap after leap of imagination. I didn't like it.
Did anybody see the true ending coming?
It wasn't remarkable, so there was nothing to foresee.
Yeah, I also didn't foresee it really, and I wasn't really, like, it didn't seem...
I was fine with it, but it was not... It wasn't like I'm so satisfied I figured it out and it worked out just like I was thinking it was going to. Like, all the signs were pointing to this or that I picked up on or things like that. It was just kind of like, okay, things went in a direction.
Yeah,
and they weren't like, it wasn't like a stupid direction. It was just like, that's where they went.
Yeah, and it's more like you just, okay, let's see where this branch goes. Okay, cool, that happened. All right, go back. Let's see where this one goes. Okay. It wasn't... Me personally, I wasn't trying to like Sherlock Holmes and be like, oh, but in this branch, this character is acted like this, so maybe, I wasn't doing any of that. I don't know if you guys, Mox, were you doing that? Any like reading into?
There was nothing to read into because you weren't a character and your knowledge of the other dead ends did not figure into the game, which really bothered me.
Same, because you would come into a different path and they would have to like rediscover the same information.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it would be really great if there was some mechanic like they just remember things from the other timeline. But yeah.
Well, and I hate to liken this game to 999 and all those, but like in that game, oh shoot, I can't remember whatever. They had like telepathy, and it was like that the player knows what happens in the other dead ends is like a major theme of the game. This has nothing to do with that. I don't know. There was no lesson to learn. I didn't matter. The book didn't matter. It was really just like throw everything on the wall, and then when you find what sticks, that's the ending. That's my major gripe. Is like the timeline mechanic was almost pointless.
But even though the story was not there, we have our qualms and issues with the story. I feel like I know at least me and Austin really enjoyed the game. And Mox,
I did. I enjoyed it while I was playing it. It was when I was sitting afterwards being like, that was the ending? Where was the book? Who was the narrator? Who was I?
The journey was definitely more interesting than the ending.
Yes, I agree.
And I did like, I liked the dead ends because it was like, this is a super bright and cheery game. And some of those dead ends were like really
dark,
messed up.
Yeah, they were.
It was just like, oh, jeez. Which really, I like that. I like that mixture.
On the Steam store page, it said something about like, play this game and find the endings where people don't die. I was like, oh my god, this game has little cute animals. Who's gonna die in a game with cute little animals? And oh my god, everyone dies like gruesomely in some cases.
Yeah. All right, let's.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Around the story, I really, really thought, because they keep in the dreams, they keep on having moments where it's like Luca would see an older version of himself wearing one of the hazmat suits. At some point, you're in like the other Beacon Pines, the one that's frozen over.
The original.
And there's two guys in hazmat suits walking around, and they're like joking around with each other, and it reminded me of the way Luca and Rollo talk with each other. And I was like, oh, is this like, are they like a future version of Luca and Rollo? And I thought they were going to go somewhere, and or that they were going to be some significant people. They never got unmasked, and we don't know who they were.
It didn't matter at all.
It didn't matter. I was sad about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a thing.
It was funny when Rocco like aged, though. It's pretty funny.
Rollo.
Yeah,
Rollo,
enjoyed that.
Rollo, yeah. Gosh.
I like this. That's the theme of the game, I guess, is like, oh, I thought this thing was going to matter, but it didn't really.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to our takes. I will start. So, Beacon Pines is a much better version of Night in the Woods.
They're not even comparable.
I feel like they are, and this is my personal take, Mox, so I'm gonna say it.
You keep going. I'm sorry.
I'm just playing. But I think that they are similar, and I think that Beacon Pines is way better. They do have their differences, of course. I love that you get to see how every situation unfolds. With very little, there's very little consequence to see how does this situation unfold and how does this one. The narrator, her voice, very nice to listen to. I feel like she did a great job.
High quality voice actress.
Yes, high quality.
Felt like I had Mox's like sister or cousin to me.
I really liked how the game didn't overstay its welcome. And I liked how beautiful it was, how it looked. And I'm not usually into these games. But for me, this is going to be a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Woo!
And I don't see any reason for someone who isn't remotely interested not to play it. Like, if you're just like, this looks a little interesting. It's on Game Pass. It's not very expensive. I would recommend giving it a try. The only thing that I wish it had was like a few extra charms. I think that would have, and like a few extra branches because of that. Besides that, I just really liked it. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was nice. It made me like kind of happy, kind of sad at times. It was just like a nice feeling, a good game. Very solid story game. Mox.
I too liked this game, and I liked playing it, but I am a connoisseur of story games, of games with like important and interesting story, and it just wasn't a great story. It's a good story. And if you're like someone who doesn't normally play story games, this is it. This is your game, because it's like a nice dip your toe in it. Maybe if you like the branching mechanics, try 999, although that's like kind of getting in the deep end. But I just wish it had a bit more, I don't know, I wish the story was a bit tighter. But other than the story, everything is amazing. It was like clean, it was pretty, it ran well, the music was great, characters were cute. I liked the voice acting. It wasn't too heavy-handed. I don't need games to be fully voice acted, but it does, it lends well to the voice acting that there was. And the characters were like deep, but not too deep that it's like you get lost in it. I don't know, this is a very like tight game. Everything is good. I would say the gameplay is great, the music is great, the visuals are great, story is good. I'll give it I have to give it an 8 because it's just like it is a story game, and I wish the story were just a little bit better.
A little bit better. That's fair. That's fair. As someone who plays, I feel like you've experienced way more heavy narration, heavy story games than I have.
I mean, I play Road Warden, which there's nothing but story. That's it. There's no gameplay. You press numbers.
And you read.
You read it. That's it.
Yep. Austin.
Yeah, so I also really liked this game. I think in a game like this, the interface is going to be half. It's like half of what it lives and dies on. It's the interface and the story that it's going to live and die on. And the interface was really good. There was like one or two small improvements that could have been made, but like for what's there, it's really wonderful. The story kept me interested. I think, like we said earlier, it was really more the journey than the end. But a lot of the dead ends were a lot more fun than the actual true ending.
Yeah.
But every dead end felt like a reward. It was like something really messed up would happen and be like, oh my God, I can't believe
I did gasp.
What's going to happen in the next dead end?
I gasped several times. Keep going, sorry.
Yeah. The music fit the game very well. The art was really well done. I liked how well the game flowed and kind of just kept you moving. It didn't really dawdle on anything for too long or really stick in a point where it was just like, what do I do next? Or, oh my God, I know what I have to do, but this is just taking so long or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think everything went great. It's not the type of game that I would normally play. So I probably would never have even looked at this if it wasn't for Game Club.
Same.
So I'm glad we did. I would give it an 8 out of 10 because the story, I think, could have been, I like Mock said, I think the story could have been a little bit better, and just in general, this is not something I would like replay for fun or anything like that. But I mean, I had a great time with it, so I think it was good. 8 out of 10. I would give it like a high 8.
I have a question for you, Mox. If you could play a Beacon Pines 2 or a Famicom Detective Club, the other one that we didn't play, what would be your preference? Assuming that Beacon Pines 2 was just like same game with just like some minor improvements to the story.
Wait, minor improvements?
Yeah.
Or the same. Okay, I would definitely play Beacon Pines 2 then, because I would love to see like what else. Like this is a very intriguing. Okay, not this is. Oh, I feel like this is gonna sound mean. It's a little bit like Twilight. The idea of it is so interesting, but like it didn't bear out in the writing and the ending. If they like got, I don't know, someone better to write this same story with like a little bit expansion of the idea behind it. Oh man, I would read that book. I don't need a video game.
Yeah. It's just what, and Austin, what about you?
I would play Beacon Pines 2 in a heartbeat. Yeah. I never ever want to play the other Famicom Detective Club game.
What about the Famicom version of it? Not even the remake or whatever.
Geez,
that was in Japanese. Even better.
I think the story of the other Famicom Detective Club might be it could be a little bit more interesting than a Beacon Pines 2.
Yeah.
But I would, if I'm playing a game, I'm going to play Beacon Pines 2. For sure.
Now,
the interface and the way that it flows is so much more intuitive. Yeah.
We have played 999.
We have.
Compare this game to 999.
I love 999.
999
is this better or worse?
I like 999 more because it has some gameplay between the story. And the story in 999 is just like really good and very detailed. It can be really dense to play, like, because there will be sections that you are just reading for like a couple of hours, it feels like. Whereas in Beacon Pines, it's a little more like bite-sized and digestible.
Yeah.
But overall, I would prefer 999 any day. I love that game.
What about you, Tyler?
I think I would prefer this, actually.
Wow.
Because when I play a game that's going to be heavy story like this, I don't want sometimes like having those gameplay interruptions where you have to solve a puzzle and then you get stuck after your brain's like frustrated on being stuck on some puzzle. I don't feel like reading is like, that's not the next thing I want to do necessarily. So I feel like having it all the reading in one place.
I definitely take breakpoints between those.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Fair.
All right. Beacon Pines. Go play it. It's
definitely play it.
High praise from the Video Game Club crew.
100% of people listening to this should play it.
Yeah. It's a good game. Very solid. Okay. Well, that was a little dive and our take on Beacon Pines. And if you enjoyed hearing us discuss and want to join us for the next Video Game Club episode, stay put because our vote just ended and it was between Star Fox 2, Star Fox Assault, Star Fox Zero. And the winner is Star Fox 2. Austin, you said that there may be a little bit of homework associated with Star Fox 2.
So if you have not played, if you want to like get a little bit more context around our discussion that we're going to have for Star Fox 2, I would recommend, you don't have to do this, I would recommend playing Star Fox 1 on Super Nintendo and Star Fox 64. Both of them are very short, 30 minutes to an hour, and they'll just both kind of bookend our discussion for Star Fox 2 and give you some context of where the series came from, where it went instead of Star Fox 2, because this was the canceled game that didn't come out for several years. That was just kind of shrouded in mystery for a long time.
And you can play...
Is the context a story, bit like the storyline? Or is it like gameplay or audio?
Gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is on the Super Nintendo Classic, and it's on Nintendo Switch Online. And other places as well.
Wear an eye patch.
Yes. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Again, just as a reminder, you can catch us here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV every 2 weeks. The next stream will be November 27th, and it will have to be a little bit later. We're going to do it at 5 Eastern instead of 2 Eastern. So it's just because of schedules and holiday and travel and things like that. And then we're going to have some other announcements in the next episode about, well, what about the end of the year episode and what's going to happen over December and stuff like that. So stay tuned. If you're curious, tune into the next episode. If you can't catch us live, again, don't worry. You can find the episode up on YouTube, all major podcast services. Austin, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Mox, thank you for this awesome game that you nominated and joining us.
I'm so glad that you guys liked it. I was so worried that everyone would hate all of the picks. And you guys liked it. Makes me really happy. Thank you for trying it. And I'm glad you didn't hate it.
Absolutely not. It was good. Oh, I forgot to mention this game. If you want to, for those that stayed to the end, this game was kickstarted.
Wow.
And it raised its money within 24 hours. So it's a very successful Kickstarter project. All right. I'm Tyler. This was Video Game Club, episode 59, Beacon Pines, and we're out.